I'm gonna give you one guess where we're at. Yep, Roadrunner Sports. It is the 2024 Beach and Bay Half Marathon. This will be my 3rd year doing it. Let's get into it. We're at registration. We gotta get inside. We are here. It is race morning, 3rd year, excited, nervous. We are attempting a sub 2:10 half marathon. Now, I know for a lot of people that's not much. For me, it's definitely there. It's doable. Last time I had a 2:12. Strava gave me a 2:11. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of work, but feeling good. Not 100%, but I think we can get there with a good push. I know the course well, so that kind of helps. But yeah, let's get it. Race morning. Let's go, baby. The race is completed. Now, did I go sub 2:10? Unfortunately, I hate to report I did not. And we're gonna talk about this video. In fact, that is the reason this video has taken so long to make, is because the first version of the video I made, I really didn't like it. It was just kind of, I don't know, it was bland. It wasn't what I wanted to put out there. So we have 5 key reasons why I believe that I failed. Let's dive into it. Oh yeah, medal this year, I definitely dug it because I just dig these colors. And then I got my legacy. This is the 3 year, so my 3rd year I've done it. And then next year I'm gonna shoot for 4, 5, and as we keep going. But really cool that they do this. I actually like this. So let's dive into the video. Number 5 reason that I believe I failed is lack of stretching. And this is a huge step that I just keep missing. In fact, I find it extremely boring, but I cannot stress the level of importance that stretching has brought. With mountain biking, cycling, and all that type of stuff, I made sure that I at least stretched a little bit. Definitely not enough, but I could tell, especially going into the races, my hips felt good, everything was good. So when I needed to put down the power, it was there. During this run, I started to lock up. I could feel my IT band hurting a little bit. I could feel my hip hurting. Not the knee as much, but into the calf. So what it was telling me was, not that I'm dehydrated, my nutrition was on point for the most part. It was telling me that I have not been stretching. So I cannot stress the level of importance stretching brings. Number four is 2 parts. 1, data. 2, never change anything the day of the race. That's pretty self-explanatory, and I made that mistake. Let's talk about it. Data. So for instance, on my running app, on my Garmin Fenix 6 that I use, I have my pace set on here, and I'm typically used to my pace as I'm running. So as I slow down or speed up, I'm seeing it in real time with Garmin's information, and they're pretty good and pretty accurate. What I did, because I watched a video that said, oh, you should show your average race pace, and then that way you know if you're holding it. Where that bit me was when I started to slow down, or I could feel I was slowing down. I had no way of telling that I was actually slowing down, minus I just could tell, but I had no way of knowing where I was and where I was at. So trying to stay ahead of the 2:10 pacer that was running, I had no idea where I was at. And then as they're catching up to me and I think that I'm putting down the speed and the power to stay ahead of them, I wasn't. And what I could not do is look at my pace. And pace to me is extremely important, especially with a time goal. So set your watch up for what works best for you. Mine is real-time pace, heart rate, and then of course distance and whatever, time of day sometimes. Don't change it the day of the race. Stupid, really stupid. So let's talk about number 3, and this one I believe is huge, and that is our training. Well, of course it's big, it's our training. There's 2 others that I think are above it, but why I say this is I spent a majority of my time on a treadmill training for this event. Now, some people will tell you it is perfectly okay to train for events and goals on treadmills, and it works. Now, for some, maybe it does. For me, it works to get me to the finish line. It works to keep my endurance level up, the amount of time I can run, that works. Now, as for speed training and keeping my legs moving in that momentum, nothing beats getting outside. Let me explain a little bit more. So training outside is gonna be a lot different than, of course, running on a treadmill. What I mean by that, elevation change is repeated. So as I'm training outside, it's going up, it's going down, it's going sideways, right, left. That's huge. It's gonna work different muscles in your legs when you're stepping off a curb, cracking the sidewalk. All these different changes, they make a difference when you are out running a race. They're extremely important that you do not forget to train those, or guess what, you're not going to hit your goals, or you may, and you may end up hurting yourself. So make sure that you're outside training. There's no substitutions. If I'm running 5 times a day, I should be outside a minimum of 3, if not 4. Utilize a long distance, maybe a 2-hour run on a treadmill would be the smart way to go. Now, I will tell you the amount that I travel and what I have available to me. It is a lot easier for me to go to the gym, hop on the treadmill, do my workout, and call it a day. That's just laziness. There's always somewhere to run, and if it's raining, guess what? Our events run in the rain, and if you ain't trained for it, bad day. Number 2, and hands down, really fighting for the number 1 spot, is weight. And it kind of goes with number 1, but it's weight, hands down. I was the heaviest that I have ever raised. And to be honest with you, I don't have all the answers. We're gonna have a video explaining kind of what our plan of attack is and what we've done to figure out what those are. But of course, eating and diet, that's definitely it. But I weighed in at 236 pounds. That is the heaviest I have ever ran anything. So for me to think that I could go out and beat my previous times where I had trained, I had ran my hills, I had did everything I was supposed to do, and then I'm 10 pounds heavier, I don't know what I was thinking. But weight is a huge key factor. Now remember, it does play a part when you're trying to finish things, but at my heaviest, was pretty much my heaviest, I've been able to finish events. But man, for the goals that I have set for me, I'm not able to hit those because I weigh more. And that's just a cold, hard reality that I have to face. And now we have to attack it. Now, number 1 thing that needs to be worked on is diet and food. We talked about weight and exactly how that is effective, but what controls that? Diet. Diet has to be 80%. 20% is all the workouts that I'm doing, all the training I'm doing. I'm not gonna get faster, I'm not gonna get better. I'm just gonna basically be finishing, which is what I'm doing. Now, don't get me wrong, finishing races is great, and that was my first goal. When I get into these goals, these longer goals, like what's coming up this year, I just want to finish the race. I don't put a timestamp, but I've done enough half marathons to start setting those goals. To achieve them, we've got to be below the weight. And the only way to get there starts in here. What you put in here goes down here, and you know. So diet, number one thing. We have to change this. Ask my dad, he'll tell you I eat like shit. His words, not mine. So just to talk about the race briefly, because to be honest with you, I just think the failure is there. I was out there running. I just failed. It is what it is. I gave it what I could. Did I give it my all? I think when I got to that halfway point, I was just so mentally defeated. Again, it's reaching upstairs and digging deep. I just didn't have it. And you know what? It's kind of why it was hard to get this video out, because you have to admit it sometimes. And I don't have a problem with it. I made a mistake. It is what it is. My training wasn't there. I definitely learned. So the key factor is going to be stepping away, taking what I've learned from the run, the race, learned from my training, learned from my data, my eating, all that stuff. And now I got to put it into action, because we have a lot coming up in some very big races. One in July, one in October, and I'm shooting for one in December. So I want to thank you guys for watching this. I know it's not the happy-go-lucky, oh my God, look what I did, but it had to get out there, had to put it out there and be very honest with y'all. And we'll see you guys next time. We had a lot to do. In fact, we picked up a new sponsor. I'm not going to drop any names, not going to give away any secrets. Anyways, I got to order some stuff online, so we'll see you in the next video.